Welcome to Music Manager Certification Module number 3. So this is what we call the how-to module. We're going to get into everything from how to find artists, how to sign artists, how to manage artists, the artist phasing process, which is our artist development system. This is where we're going to get into a lot of just what makes Amdreamo work, and as a music manager, what do you do, and what steps do you take in particular to make this process work for your artists. So because of the nature of this material, we're going to separate into two pieces just to make sure that you have enough time and it's not too big as far as your ability to consume it. So let's begin. Let's start with part 1 of the Music Manager Certification Module number 3. So here's what we're going to cover in both modules. First, we're going to discuss finding artists and also signing artists, and then our artist development process, which we call artist phasing. And then lastly, we're going to discuss managing your artists. So let's begin with finding an artist. Now, there's so many places to find artists. As you know, the popularity of music now, artists are doing everything that they can to put themselves out there. So there's tons of places, there's tons of ways to find artists. But here's some specific ways that we go about finding artists. Number 1, we have offline and online. From an offline standpoint, we have talent shows, we have music conferences. Remember, music conferences and talent shows, these are where artists are going, hoping to rub shoulders, hoping to display and showcase their talent. You can post ads or put flyers up on online forums, or put ads in newspapers, or put posters up at clubs or nightclubs where they frequently have talent shows or showcases. This is just a way of saying, hey, I'm a music manager, I'm here, I'm looking for talent. Also, you can go to open mic nights. You'll find a lot of live talent performing there. You'll find bands performing there. Or you can put on and host your own music industry events. And later in the training, we're going to show you how to host your own Amdreamo music industry event, which is a great way not only to position yourself as a music authority in your city, it's a great way to identify and find talent, people who are trying to be seen and recognized in your community in the music industry. Lastly, from an offline standpoint, we have bars and clubs. As mentioned before, they have a lot of open mic nights, live performances, bands who frequent these locations all the time to provide live entertainment. So as you're looking at these offline items that we list here, understand that there's several other places that you can find artists. Concerts, for example. Artists, a lot of times, big acts come into town. You have a lot of local acts, but open up for those particular individuals. So what you want to do is you want to find the people who are opening. You want to find the people who are serious. You really don't want the guy who just kind of works in his basement, kind of does it as a hobby. You want to find the person who's really, really putting time and effort into making their craft work. Because when you come to them and you say, you know, there's a fee for this service, they'll understand. They know that there's a fee for everything. But if you kind of go to the person who's kind of doing their music as a hobby, it's not really something they're taking seriously. They're not performing. They're not in the studio. I'm talking about a real studio, not the studio in their house. If you start running across those people, you want to find them a little more reluctant to pay the fee to get the services that we offer from an Amdreamo standpoint. So you really want to find those people who are serious, who are looking for ways to go. As you guys know, the average music industry conference is around $500 to $600 just for a 2-day event. So these people, they're already predisposed to spending money. They already understand that it's going to cost to play. These people have $1,000 studios. They got the $15,000 Pro Tools HD kit. They understand what it takes to make this thing work. So you really want to find the serious musician, not the hobbyist. And here's a couple of offline ways that we did, that we showed you here. Now let's discuss some of the online ways. We have Facebook, Reverb Nation, and online posts and forums. So Facebook, as you all know, you'll get those posts all the time. The guy saying, you know, check out my new song, check out my new video. And usually you kind of skip over those guys like, come on, man, I don't know you, I don't care. Now, from a managerial standpoint, you're going to look at these guys, and this is a great opportunity for you to get to know them. Click on their page, do a little bit of research before you even approach them with an opportunity to work with you. Reverb Nation, again, great resource, great tools. It can show you following size. You can hear all their sample of their music, has profiles, bios. Great resource to identify, find some talent. And then you have online posts and artist forums. So remember, from a manager standpoint, for you to put up on a forum or a post, music manager, great connection and resources, looking for talent, I mean, you imagine you'll be overwhelmed with people who are looking to connect with you. So those are just a couple of ways from an offline, online standpoint to get yourself out there. Remember, all this content or portion of this content may be featured on the test. So really, really take heed, take some notes, and make sure you review this video. Also provide some great places to find talent. And from a finding talent standpoint, you don't want to just go to these places once. You want to make sure that the owners and the managers and the supervisors of these facilities, they get comfortable and they get familiar with you. That way, when certain talent come through the door, they now say, hey man, there's this guy or this girl that I really want you to meet. This person's heavy in the music industry. They have big time connections. So now you're the go-to resource for that music manager or bar owner or whatever the deal is. So you want to make sure you frequent these locations. Don't just make it a one-time type deal. Come in there dressed professionally, letting them know that you're about business. And that'll be the way that I would approach it. That'll be the way that we recommend that you approach it. All right, so how to sign an artist. Now remember, Mdrimo is a new concept, so you can't exactly just say, pay me money and I'll help you. As you can imagine, they'll probably run away from you as fast as they can. So this is our process. It's designed to create trust, show expertise, and then ultimately get them to sign up. Again, Mdrimo, this concept is new. You'll say, hey, I got this service, you just pay me $100 a month and I can get you wherever you want to go. They'll look at you like you're crazy. Now, you know that this is the best opportunity since sliced bread for a typical artist, but they don't understand this. So we got to go through a process to really get them to trust us, to understand us, before we even make any offer to work with them. Now, I'll go back to finding previous artists. Let's get our slides back together. Okay, so step one. Never try to sign an artist upon first meeting them. Now, this goes for multiple reasons, but for number one, this is because you must make sure that the artist is prepared to receive the information that you're going to deliver to them in an environment that is more conducive to them understanding the concept of Mdrimo. So first, you set up an appointment for a later date. You hand them your card, you tell them who you are, you make a formal introduction. Again, make sure you look the part, make sure you dress the part, shake their hand with confidence, let them know that you can help them and that you'd like to set up an appointment or a meeting for a later date or a later time. If you try to pitch them Mdrimo on the spot right there in front of them, they're going to look at you as somebody who's just trying to take advantage of them, as they believe that everybody in the music industry is trying to do. So that's not what we're trying to do. We just want to make sure that we get them in an environment where they're ready to receive the information that we're going to deliver. Okay, step two. Now, before you meet with the artist, you want to make sure you do some homework. Research your artist. You want to find them on Facebook, find them on Twitter, find them on Instagram, YouTube, anywhere you can find information about them. And here's some information that you want to look up. You want to have a chance to listen to the quality of their music. If they're heavy recording in the studio, you're going to be able to hear that in the quality of their music. You want to be able to identify their fan base size, how many Twitter followers, how many Facebook followers, how many Instagram followers do they have. And then you want to see what they've done. You want to look at any tours, any album covers, any magazine covers they may have, any posters, any interview lists, any videos, performance tapes that you can identify. You want to identify anything that you can that shows you what they've done to this point in the history of that artist. And step three, you want to discover and disclose. Now these are our steps to really, generate some trust, generate some loyalty between the artists, so that they can feel that going with us will be just the logical thing to do. So we have 4 steps. We have agree, motivate, inspire, and then what we call the reality check. After that, we then disclose. But remember that the number one thing is to agree, motivate, inspire, and then the reality check. Once that happens, then the disclosure part, the signing part, that part becomes the easiest part. But these first 4 steps are the most important. So follow these steps exactly. Let's go right into the details. Number one, agree. For example, you'll tell them, I'll tell you what I can do for you, but first I need to know a little more about you. So once you get them into the meeting, you're sitting down with them, they're ready to go, they're excited, they can't wait to hear that you're working with some of the biggest names in the industry, you got the most major connections. You understand that they're waiting for you to say, I want to sign you for a $20 million album deal. This is what they're wanting to hear. We know this because this is the only way the music has been done in the past, okay? So we have to take that into consideration as we move forward with the rest of this process. So before we start and tell them anything about Mdrimo or what we do, you're going to tell them this exact line here. I'll tell you what I can do for you. But first, I need to know a little bit more about you. Obviously, you already did your research, but this is your way of working them in. Second part is our motivate portion. Find out what motivates them to do music. Find out what excites them about the music industry. What motivates them? What's driving them behind it? Because if they're not driven, if they're not motivated, if it's just a hobby, they're not going to pay you to really make this thing work. So you're gonna find out early that you're just wasting your time. Shake hands and say, hey, say whatever you got to say from that point. But their motivation is going to be heavy into letting you know whether or not to move forward. Next one is the inspire phase. If everything goes as planned, what will life be like? So what you want them to do is to start to envision what life would be like if everything that they are trying to do actually works out. So, for example, the artist says, if this thing works out, man, I really can take care of my mom. I can get that house. I can take care of my kids the way I wanted to. I can really put myself in a really, really big position. I can get that big house that I've always wanted. I can get that jet. I can live a lifestyle that I've always wanted. Let them tell you. Go into it and ask them why. Why? What's up with the jet? Why you want the jet? And they'll tell you why they want the jet. They'll tell you, and they'll be so willing to tell you what motivates them behind it, right? So then from there we get to our reality check phase, and what you want to do is spend as much time on each step as you can. Don't rush through the process. Don't agree then jump to motivate. They give you one motivational factor, then you jump to inspire. They give you one inspirational factor, then you jump to reality check. You want to take your time in going through each step. You want to make this real for them. Make it as real, get them as excited as possible, and then that's when you hit them with the reality check. You tell them that if things stay the same, what is life going to be like? And they're going to tell you. I mean, I've been gigging for the last 15 years. I mean, if it stays like this, I'm just not going to be able to do it anymore. They're going to tell you that, I don't have enough money to keep on, shelving out $2,000 or $3,000 a month for my band. We're not making any money. They're going to tell you what the end of the rope is, and they're going to basically let you know what's going to stop them. That's when you then move on to the disclose phase. And then you tell them, well, I have done a little research on you, and you go into depth about what you've seen. So say, for example, I've listened to some of the quality of your music, or, I've seen some of the photos you have. I've seen some of your tours. You want to let them know that these are some of the things that are possibly holding you back, and I can help you with them. But again, before you go into how, just let them know that I've noticed some areas where I can help you. I've noticed you got some real talent, but what you're going to need is this, and that, and that. And then you say, I can really help you with that. But then, again, you're going to continue with the process. All right, so after they tell you exactly, what's stopping them from the process, that's the reality check portion. What's going to happen. They're going to say, I'm going to run out of this, I'm going to run out of that, and then, you ask them what's stopping them from them, living that reality, the great reality that they picture for themselves in the music industry. And you're going to discover that 99% of the time, the artists are going to have one of these four issues. They're going to either say, number one, they're lacking connections, they're lacking guidance, they're lacking money, or they're lacking exposure. It doesn't matter. I don't care the nature of the artist that you're dealing with, right? If they're coming to you and they're sitting down with you and they're willing to talk to you, they're having an issue in one of these areas. All right. And the best part about MDreamo Music and as an MDreamo Music manager is that you have exactly what they need. You have this to offer. You can offer them connections, guidance, money, and exposure. Now, not money just for the sake of money, or not connections for the sake of the connections, but you have a way for them to generate this, and you have a way to offer them these tools sincerely. So that's a strong position to be in. And as you're talking to these people, I don't want you feeling like, I hope he takes my sale. I hope I make this sale today. I want you to come from the standpoint, I hope this man takes this help, or I hope this band takes this help, or I hope this woman takes this assistance that I have, that it can just completely change their life. Come to them from the standpoint of a person who's trying to help, not just a person who's trying to add another artist to their roster. Very, very important. So, all right. So this is where you then tell them about MDreamo, okay? Once you identify is rather money, connections, exposure, guidance, whatever it may be, this is where you begin to tell them about MDreamo. You say, you know what? I have connections all across the country. I have access to producers, songwriters, videographers, stylists, whatever it is. I have connections, major connections in the music industry. But most importantly, you have a way for them to start making money now. And this is what you're going to let them know. I have a way for you to start generating some money now. And this is when you tell them about MDreamo and how the service works. Start to go a little bit more in detail about it. MDreamo is a music management and artist services company. It was started back in 2005. They've established music connections all across the country, artists, producers, touring, exposure outlets, everything that you can imagine. And then this is when you move forward and you show them the MDreamo card. This is where the card that shows them what MDreamo can do for them. And if you look at your downloadable forms, you'll see this card right here. This is what MDreamo can do for you. And you explain what the Fan Connect site is, collaboration network, music managers, and then MDreamo Local. When you sign up for the service with MDreamo, which is an artist management services company, this is what you get. And this is what each one of these things offer, right? And then they're going to say, okay, it sounds good. As you're going into an example of what it is and how it works, you're then going to want to be thoroughly educated on exactly what each of these four are. And that's why here we're going to spend a little bit more time going into it. So Fan Connect site. And remember, you have this site, you have this card up. So I encourage you to download it. I encourage you to get them printed up. You want to make sure you have these cards at your disposal, okay? Just so when you're referencing, you're talking to potentials, okay? This is where you get to explain exactly what these services are. So the Fan Connect site, and you really want to commit these to memory. You don't want to have to reference the cards when it's time to explain what these things are. So from a Fan Connect site standpoint, a Fan Connect site is a membership site where artists create exclusive content, including music and videos made and offered solely for subscribers of their site. And what this does is it generates money and exposure for our artists, right? So they're going to want to know, what's the purpose? Why do I need that? Well, what this does, it actually generates money and exposure for our artists. Okay, then the second one is the Amdrimo Local. And you'll say, it's all about the music industry events hosted by members of the music industry. So Amdrimo has music industry insiders all across the country, and they host music industry events, and it's all for members of the music industry. So this is where you get to connect and get exposure for yourself and for your career more. And then lastly, you want to tell them about the Amdrimo Collaboration Network. And this is where it's all about online collaborations with artists, managers, music industry, service providers. They all come together to collaborate on projects. And this is, again, for the purposes of connections and exposure. So what we're going to do, we're going to get you the connections, we're going to get you the exposure, we're going to get you the money. And me, as your music manager, I'm going to provide you the guidance you need to navigate this world and get yourself to whatever position that you really, really want to go to. And then after that, you'll see what our next step is going to be. Again, we're not trying to sell anything to them from that standpoint. If they have any objections, remember, we don't sell Amdrimo service. We offer it to those that want it, those who've been looking for it, those who've been looking for a way out, those who've been, spending nights crying, trying to find a solution to their problem, those who have this overwhelming desire to do music, but there's no way that in their small town or in their congested city or wherever it is that they are, that they're going to have a chance to see this thing realized. So that's who we're offering this to. We're not going to, kick in doors and beg people to come on board with us. We're going to offer this to people who are looking for it. So remind the artists of everything that they are getting, and that the price is nothing in comparison to what they're going to get, right? So the life that they said they wanted, they just told you why they wanted the life. They told you what motivated them for the life. Tell them that, I'm going to help you get to this point. And then after that, you allow them to make the decision, period. So if they're ready to sign up, let's go ahead and go with it. And if they're not, thank them for their time, and hand them a card, let them know, if anything changes in the past, that you're here. And that if at any point they're ready to go ahead and take their music career to the next level, that you'd be more than happy to help them from that standpoint. All right, so this is how you sign them up. Online membership sign up. If you have your manager profile page set up, you will not have to enter your ID number. But if you don't have your manager profile page set up, that's for our platinum members. But if you don't have the manager profile page set up, what you're going to do is on our regular amdrimo.com webpage, you're going to enter your manager ID number, the artist information, and they're going to collect payment through the online payment portal. All right, so that's basically how it's going to work. Again, you just go to amdrimo.com. You're going to click on whatever base package the artist is signing up for. You enter your manager ID number, or if you're going through your own page, you don't have to worry about that. Enter the artist information, collect payment through the online payment portal. What it does, it sets them up for automatic recurring payment. That way you don't have to worry about saying, hey, your payment is due. Every single month it's going to pull the money out their account, and that ensures that you get your commission check every single month as well. After you do this process, you can, basically take a sigh of relief. Congratulations, you have just signed your first artist. And if that is not proof that this system works, if that's not proof that, this is something that you really can grow to, as high as you want to, then, I don't know what else will be that for you. But this is an opportunity for you to be excited. It's an opportunity for you to say, wow, I'm really doing this, right? And this is just the beginning. So I want you to hunker back down. You don't rest just because you got one. Now it's time actually to manage and help this artist. And that's what we're going to discuss in the next section. Okay, so how do you manage them? Well, once you signed your artist, it's time to start the management process. This will always begin with the artist phasing process. The artist phasing process is our form of artist development. Remember, as a music manager, you can be the most passionate person in the world, but if your artists are not prepared to reach the levels of success you are prepared to bring them to, your efforts will mean nothing. And with that said, we're going to stop the end here at Module 1, and I'm going to let you kind of prepare yourself for Module 2, but this one's roughly about 20 minutes, and I don't want it to go too much longer than that. What I want to encourage you to do, though, before you watch the second part, is to really revisit the artist sign-up process. Really look at what it's going to take to sign these artists up, how to conduct the actual second day or second appointment with this particular artist, how to go through the steps, the whole psychology behind why we go through, what motivates them, what their passions are, and then what can stop them, and then how we offer our service to them, how we don't try to sell it to them, we just offer it as a solution to a problem that they've identified for themselves. I really want you to kind of get yourself kind of ingrained and really, really comfortable with that. Secondly, I want you to look at how you can scale this. How can you take this from one artist to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 10, right? Look at how you can maximize this, right? So you may have to have 5 appointments a day, or you might have 5 back to back. Another one may be, location. You might be wondering, I don't have an office yet. Where am I going to meet these artists? Remember the music industry. You can meet them anywhere. You can meet them at a Marriott hotel. You can meet them at an Embassy Suite. You can meet them at a restaurant. Meet them at a Red Lobster. Make it a luncheon. Make it a dinner appointment. However you want to structure it, you're not limited or bound by your location or your accessibility to an actual facility. Make the appointment. Make sure you're ready to go. Make sure you're professional. Have your business cards. Have all your documentation prepared, and be ready to sign them up. I actually encourage you to have your laptop ready, because if they're ready to sign up now, I want you to have your laptop right there to sign them up. If you don't have your laptop ready, I want you to download one of our sign-up forms, take all of their information down on the sign-up form, and then when you get home, input that information into the computer so you can get that artist signed up. All right, that is the completion of Music Manager Certification Module number 3, Part 1. Again, review this information, and I will see you on Part 2.